Do your shoulders click and pop? If so, stay tuned for today's video. This idea of clicking and popping in the shoulder is a question that comes up really often on my account. That's why I wanted to cover it today. The really important thing to know is that when you look at the musculoskeletal system, it often makes noise, clicking and popping, lots of different sounds. And in the research we've seen in multiple joints throughout the body that these sounds usually aren't associated with pathology. So if the clicking and popping is associated with pain or you've had a recent injury, then it's something, to pay attention to and to address with exercise. But it's also important to know that, say with your shoulder, if you've injured your rotator cuff or irritated it recently, maybe the shoulder is inflamed, this will often alter our joint mechanics and you might notice new sounds coming from the joint. Those things will usually go away once the inflammation calms down, once all of the irritated structures desensitize. So just helpful to know as you go into this, these sounds usually go away once the area is calmed down. And the exercises I'm going to show can also kind of speed that process up. Often when we activate the muscles that surround and stabilize the shoulder joint, it will take away some of these sounds. So let's get into the exercises. For the first exercise, you're going to take a loop band. You can easily purchase these on Amazon. They come in different colors for different resistance levels. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to get some. For this first exercise, you're going to put that band around your wrists, and we're going to work on activating two of our rotator cuff muscles right here on the back of the shoulder blade, infraspinatus and teres minor, these two muscles. They're really important in terms of stabilizing the shoulder joint, that ball and socket joint. So you're going to put the band around your wrists and then pin your elbows to your side and push out into the band so that your shoulders externally rotate. So you really want to think about pushing the backs of your hands and your wrists out into the band. And then I'm going to turn to the side so you can see you're going to push out into the band, pinch your shoulder blades together, and then reach slowly up overhead. Most people, when they experience clicking and popping in their shoulder, it's when they're reaching away from their body and using that shoulder joint. So with this exercise, we're first going to pinch those shoulder blade muscles together, our rhomboids and middle trapezius, and then we're going to externally rotate and activate that rotator cuff, and then we're going to reach through the range of motion, basically just firing up that neuromuscular system, which will help to stabilize the shoulder joint and reduce some of that clicking and popping. So we're strengthening the rotator cuff, and then we're increasing stability in the shoulder joint. So with this one, just go through, push out, and you can hold that tension and go through this movement 10 to 15 times. And you can do this 2 to 4 times throughout the day. Before getting into the next exercise, just want to mention that my book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It has rehab programs for the 50 most common injuries and pain issues. Each body region has its own chapter. Today we're talking about clicking and popping in the shoulder. The shoulder instability program in my book could really be a good option if you have this going on. Each program is organized into 3 phases. There are pictures of me doing all the exercises and instructions for each exercise. Basically, the book allows you to manage your own pains and injuries at home. If we look at the research, exercise really has the best evidence for musculoskeletal conditions, and you can do those on your own. So if you'd like a resource that allows you to do your own physical therapy and rehab at home, I will put a link for the book down in the description. For our second exercise, we're going to use a long piece of TheraBand. Again, this comes in different resistance levels. I'll put another link down in the description. This is called a D1 pattern. So you're going to hold the band about shoulder distance apart. The arm that you're working is going to be in front of your body. The other arm is going to go down by your hip. And this looks sort of like drawing a sword. So I'm going to start thumb down. You can see my thumb is pointing down. And then I'm going to reach up to the corner and rotate my thumb up at the same time. So this D1 pattern, and then as I come back down, I'm going to slowly let my thumb rotate back down and go back to kind of where that sword would be. This rotation, as I'm going out at this angle and rotating my thumb up, it again activates a bunch of my shoulder muscles, but really the rotator cuff and my deltoid, some of those really important shoulder stabilizers. So for this one, I'm going to go for 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. Like the last exercise, you could just think about doing 2 to 4 sets and spreading them throughout the day. You could do them all together in one sitting or spread them throughout the day. But the idea with this one again is this rotation. The rotation is the important part. So starting thumb down, reaching out, slowly rotating the thumb up, and then on the way back in, Slowly control that eccentric contraction and let the arm rotate so the thumb goes back down. Okay, so that's our second exercise, the D1 pattern. So the last two exercises worked those two rotator cuff muscles on the back of the shoulder blade and our scapular stabilizers. Now we're going to work one of our rotator cuff muscles on the front of the shoulder. This is called subscapularis. So again, with all these exercises, think about pre-positioning, kind of just squeezing your shoulder blades together, not real forcefully, but just a little bit of a squeeze. For this one, I'm going to take that same piece of TheraBand, I'm going to tie it onto something secure at my house that's about waist level, and then I'm going to rotate in to work that subscapularis muscle. This will also engage my pectoral muscles, but it's going to get all of our internal rotators of our shoulder, which again, not only create internal rotation of the joint, but they also stabilize the joint. So sometimes you also see this with a towel roll. You can roll up a towel roll and put it here between your side and your elbow. That's a nice way to really encourage pure rotational movement. If you get better at this and you know how to coordinate it, you don't necessarily need the towel, but that is a good place to start. So you just start with your arm out here. Our shoulder has about 70 degrees of external rotation. You're going to start all the way out, some tension on the band, and then rotate in to where your hand comes close to your stomach, and then slowly back out. Don't let the band snap you back. Really try to control that movement. Think about 3 to 4 seconds on the way out, and then 2 to 3 seconds on the way in. All right, so that's our third exercise, resisted shoulder internal rotation. For our last exercise, we're going to transition to a closed chain exercise. So this is where my hands are going to be fixed to the ground. Closed chain exercises are another great way to activate all of your shoulder muscles, including your rotator cuff. So this is going to kind of have 3 different levels, so just pick the one that's best for you. For this first one, I'm going to be in quadruped, so my hands and my knees both on the ground. And then from here, I'm going to pull my shoulder blades down, and I'm just going to work on going through what's called a scapular plus. So this activates my serratus anterior muscle, which is a stabilizer of my shoulder blade. And the shoulder blade is half of our shoulder joint. So if we strengthen and work the muscles that connect to the shoulder blade, this will help our shoulder joint. So this is the first one, knees on the ground. If that's pretty easy, you're going to lift your knees off the ground. So now my core and my shoulder muscles have to work quite a bit harder. Same idea. I'm just going to let those shoulder blades kind of roll forward over my rib cage and then come together slowly. My elbows are staying straight the whole time. This looks like a push-up, but I'm not bending my elbows. So it's just a movement of my shoulder blades. If this second level is easy for you, then you're going to go out to a full push-up, and the same thing from here, work through that scapular push-up. So using my serratus muscle to protract my shoulder blades, and then slowly lower gravity wants to pull me down quickly, so I've got to eccentrically control. For whatever level is best for you, again, try to think about going for 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. When you've finished a set, then you can rest for 30 seconds or so. Okay, so there's a bunch of other exercises out there you could do for this, but these 4 are great options for activating and strengthening the rotator cuff and our other shoulder joint stabilizers. These should help reduce some of that clicking and popping. Give them a try. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section and I will get back to you. All right, you guys, see you later. Bye.